All right, guys. Hopefully everybody had a good afternoon. Let's go ahead and get after it. Let's start off with let's start off with the market review. All right. Okay. So I've been talking about this all week long. We've been talking about the strength of the market, and we've been able to somewhat, to a degree, predict that the market should start to pull back this week. Now, initially, our thought process was that the market would probably finish falling today by the end of the day, because that's the pattern that we've seen, whereas that typically the market kind of goes down during the latter teens of the month. So like, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. And the market has been bottoming pretty consistently for the last 3 months, either on the 18th or the 19th of the month. So today's the 18th, tomorrow's the 19th. At this point, with the market still kind of showing some weakness, I think what I would like to do is, play it cautiously and give the dip buying one more day. All right. If we don't catch the absolute bottom, that's fine. But what we don't want to do is get in too early and then find that, the bottom is still trying to be carved out. That's definitely what we don't want to do. That's a surefire way to lose money. All right. So we definitely just want to be, cautious of that. All right. If anybody has any charts or anything they want me to look at, just go ahead and let me know in the chat. All right. Let's go ahead and take a brief look over at QQQ. Now, with SPY, there's still a possibility that price falls down towards the lower band here at 438.60. Let's call it 439. So, potentially keep your eye open for that tomorrow. All right. So we'll look at that. Let's look at QQQ. Now, QQQ is kind of interesting for a couple of reasons. Oh, nice. Appreciate that, Sam Mickens. Let's definitely hop on that, bro. I appreciate that. Let's take a look at QQQ real quick. All right, a couple things. Now, let's say on the flip side, if we wanted something to go up, you guys know what we'd be looking for. We would be looking for, let me try to zoom in here. All right, we will be looking for the bands to tighten, to start to get tight, and then for price to close above the upper band. One sec here. All right, we'd be looking for price to close above the upper band here at 368.50 for us to go higher, right? That would be a smooth, clean breakout for us. But instead, what we have is we have the reverse. We have the bands tightening and then price starting to push or grind down towards the downside. Now, I'm not saying that, the market is about to, fall through the floor or nothing like that, because it'll definitely find that floor sooner than it won't. But I mean, this doesn't look healthy right now, though. And then none of our indicators that, that we rely on to kind of, give us that extra eye, so to speak. None of those look bullish. So, let's continue to observe and be patient relative to hopping in and trying to buy the dip just quite yet. Now, we study the earnings whisper report and we identify what they have to say. By all accounts, 90% of the report this week basically said, hey, things are still pretty much bullish and we should be looking to buy the dip. However, let's be smart and let's buy strength, because at the same time, we kind of still have eyes and we still have, the ability to figure this stuff out. So we're looking at VIX and volatility. And I mean, I got to be honest, it doesn't look like it's topped out or tired yet, right? It just keeps coming day after day after day. We had a gap up. We had a gap up the following day. And now today is just trading higher, like, pretty controlled, too, by the way, like nothing like, ridiculous, no crazy move. So anyway, these are the types of moves that typically lead to pushes higher. All right. So maybe there's an upcoming spike of volatility. And after we get that, then we can kind of step back in aggressively to get calls. But for the moment, we got to pick and choose our calls real careful. All right. So that kind of covers what I'm going to cover as far as the market. Let's take a look at a couple watch lists, and then I want to just briefly review what's going on with some of the scanners that we got set up as well. So let's take a look at this. Sorry. I got this big old cursor, and it's just everywhere. All right. All right, so we're seeing a little bit of relief bounce here in like some of the Bitcoin names. You can see Mara is up a little bit, but Coin is kind of down, so that's mixed. The banks are pretty much sideways. Those really didn't move too much today. I'm looking at JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs here over here on the left hand side. So just doing a little bit of observing. Riot's about even as well. And you know what? We looked at Boeing earlier. That's one I'm gonna definitely look at again. That might be a solid short going into the end of the day. So let's take a look at that. So banks right now are a bit mixed. I know Madi wanted to look at banks earlier. So between Wells Fargo, Citigroup, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs, 2 of the 4 are red and 2 of the 4 are green. So they're most definitely mixed. You know what? With that being said, let's go ahead and take a brief look at the market watch real quick. Let's look at what the sectors look like overall. All right, I'm just giving this just a second to kind of update. All right, there we go. So healthcare had been very green, and now it looks like there's profit taking kind of across the board on healthcare. So if you're still in Pfizer, you know, continue to be cautious unless you got contracts that are far out. We talked about January 2022 contracts for Pfizer today. So, you know, consider those still. Financials are starting to pull back a little bit. Like I said, they're more mixed than anything at the moment. So there's that. There's only a couple names in IT or information technology that are really green today, like CRM. That chart looks really good, but I'm probably going to pass on that. Planeteer, we have a trade on already for that one. So we're in 25 calls, and I'm not sure if they expire on Friday or if they expire September 17th. I can't remember which ones we called, but either way, we had 25 strikes, and so those should be in the money. All right, so keep that in mind if you got Planeteers. Those are looking good. And then consumer discretionary. Home Depot and Lowe's especially was really like the one today as far as that goes. Dash, I added that back to our watch list because it had a pretty solid day today. So we'll take a look at that in a bit. And there was a name right behind here. Hold on. What is that? Neo. I'll cover Neo. Neo was more of a pullback after a breakdown type of day. So very interesting type of price action there. We'll have to really just kind of break it down to see what's going on there. All right. So now with that being said, let me go ahead and focus in on our primary watch list. All right. Let's take a look at Apple first. All right. So with Apple, let's just be honest. We got rejected. We got rejected crazy here today. All right, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay. So, not sure if I mentioned it, but if I didn't, my exit price for Apple was 148, right? And that was kind of being generous. I really wanted to make my exit price 148.50, which is this here. But I said, you know, I'll give it a little bit of wiggle to 148. And we're definitely clear below that now. So with that being said, you kind of are like at the mercy of this stock now if you entered. So you either have to go ahead and cut your losses and keep them small now that we've broken below our stop loss, which is 148. And you kind of got to consider a couple things. Number one, what's the key level here? So what's really been holding price down? You could argue it's either A, 150, or either B, 149.15. Either one, right? We're trading currently underneath both of those levels. So that means we're no longer as bullish as what we like to be for this to push higher. So if we weren't in this trade, we wouldn't step in here right now looking to buy calls. We will wait until price got either back over 149.15 or 150. So you got a couple decisions. One way you may want to play it is you might want to say, okay, we had a bad day today. Let me see if tomorrow we can't recover. All right. And then, you know, we're above 149.15 and then you got no problems. This is back to looking like a really healthy chart. I mean, to some degree, we really are only one bullish candle away from pushing higher. But at the same time, we did lose 2 levels of support that we were holding. So we closed above 150 here. We held it yesterday. And now today, we were briefly above 150 before price trapped us and then pushed us down. And we've just been falling all day, right? So, so if you're holding the Apple calls for September 17, you may want to consider closing those today, or definitely if we have continuation to the downside, then you may want to close them tomorrow. So it's better to, you know, just take your loss and, you know, not let it grow. So remember the thought process. We lose patience with losers, right? Have no patience with losers, but then have all the patience in the world with your winners. All right. So remember, lose your patience with your losers. All right. Do not have patience. But if something is rocking and rolling like this AMC has been so far, then, you know, you want to stick with it. All right. Let's take a look at AMC. So this is one that I called in the chat today. I called it when price was underneath 37. So I think we got a pretty good deal. What I've been looking at is, number one, I had a level here. I think the level was at like 36 and some change, but I adjusted it to reflect the highest close off of the weekly chart. And that represents this 37.02 level. So if you look at the weekly chart over the past 6 weeks, AMC has been pretty much sideways, but the highest close over that period of time from a weekly chart has been 37.02. So I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting for price to break back above that 37.02 level, which yesterday we were able to close above it. And today we pretty much just been holding that level. Now, ideally, we would have closed above the upper Bollinger Band today. All right, we would have closed above the upper band, and that would set the stage for us to go ahead and join the uptrend. We haven't gotten that yet, but I believe that's coming. Now, if we take a look at our indicators here, our indicators are kind of telling us that the selling pressure is getting less and less, right? That we're really close to, you know, buyers more or less dominating this chart. We have had 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish days in a row. So maybe this is nothing more than a rest day today and kind of setting the stage for us to push higher. Now, also, the stochastic is, you know, it's starting to push up. I don't have my yellow arrow, so we don't have momentum that's coming to this chart yet. But I think all we need is one really good solid day, and I would expect for momentum to show up here. All right, let me show you something real quick on the options chain, and this might kind of blow your mind a little bit too. Young Mix, I hear I got some audio issues. How are they? Are they better or still the same? Let me know if you get a chance. All right. So one thing I want to point out today is this. So looking at the options times and sales, right? What you can do is you could check this particular little tab. It's right around the options chain, but you could check this tab, and what you'll see is at different points in the day, you can see when the largest order has come in on both sides of the market. So the largest put order and then the largest call order. Now, I looked at this exact page earlier in the day, and what I saw was that there were like 974 contracts, I believe it was, that was purchased for the September 17 38 calls, and they were purchased for a price of $574. So remember, that was earlier in the day. Now, that's about 560,000. All right, that was placed on that bet for 38 calls. Now, at the end of the day, what I'm seeing is somebody has placed a bet. They bought almost 4,000 contracts at $537, right? And let's see what that is. How much dough somebody put down on that bet times 537. So that's 2 million. So somebody put 2 million down on AMC calls today for the September 17 38 calls. So we've seen a couple big bets all at the same strike. We've seen 2 million put down earlier today, and then we also saw 560,000 put down for the 38 strikes. So, you know, obviously there's money coming into this chart, and we just want to get in and sit back. And so that's what we're doing. So my advice would be, you know, snatch up a contract that you could afford if possible, and you know, give it some time to work out. All right. I really like this particular setup for a couple other reasons. You have a double bottom potentially here, right? Then if you look over to the right, you have another little series of bottoms, two little bottoms here, right? And so collectively, this whole little thing could be considered a double bottom. So that's kind of awesome. So you got a technical pattern, you got the highest close over the last 6 weeks. That price is starting to push over here, you know, in the day, or it's really hovering around it right now. And you also have money flowing into the chart, right? The chart's not going to go up if you don't have anybody buying it. So anyway, I think we got all the elements of everything that we need for AMC to go. So, you know, you guys saw what I tweeted out in the chat. Just you know, take action. That's all I can say. All right, let's take a look at AMD. So with AMD, I had mentioned earlier this morning, if price broke below the 105.74 level, then we would take a look at buying 103 calls and potentially 103 puts, and then potentially 100 puts. So price broke below 105.74, and if you entered into 103 puts or 100 puts at that time, you're up like, you know, a point and a half so far. So those contracts should definitely have some profit in them. And with the way that things are looking, you know, you might hit target tomorrow. So, you know, just keep that in mind that, you know, that trade is kind of in play or in process. All right, let's take a look at Boeing. All right. Boeing, this one was a bit confusing today, wasn't it? So let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. So earlier today, this whole candle was blue, right? It was blue or green, or, you know, however, you know, you have your color set up. But today's candle was bullish. And, you know, I sent out to the chat, I was like, you know, this could be one of two things. Either price could be trying to bottom right here, right? We could either be trying to bottom and hold this key level of really like 221, or this could be about to fall through the floor, right? And we could potentially be shooting to fill this gap from July the 20th, all right, around 217. So right now it looks like that 217.50 put that we talked about this morning is probably the way to go. All right, so let's take a look at some contracts here for Boeing and see if these are cheap for tomorrow. Give me one sec. All right, let's take a look at these August 20s. All right, so for Boeing, you know what? These contracts are still not too far priced from what we were seeing earlier today. All right, we were seeing price, I think, around like $1.14 when I mentioned them earlier today. So they are up a little bit more. But if I was going to short Boeing or kind of sell the airline industry, I would buy these 217.50 puts for Boeing that expire on August the 30th. All right, so that's a potentials play as far as that goes. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, let's look at BYND. BYND low-key kind of has some fuckery today. This chart is definitely bearish for sure. We've talked about it many reasons or many times before. but basically price has been going sideways between 120 and 135. And then finally on Friday, price broke below 120. So, by all accounts, that's a breakdown or a signal that price is going to continue down lower. Today was really more of a pullback day. I think if I'm correct, this rolls over tomorrow. So what I would do is I'd probably avoid trying to catch the top here, and I would just wait until tomorrow. And if we have some weakness, then I'd go ahead and step into it then. And I would be looking at the 115 puts for this week as well as the 110 puts. And we looked at them earlier in the week. I actually had some 110s that I cut in profit earlier today. Let me see. These 110s here, I bought these at 31 cents. And I think I closed them today at like 45 cents or something like that. The 115s are cheap now. I mean, all of these are respectively cheap, to be honest. You got a lot of heat actually on these 115s, the 5,000 open interest. So you may want to take a look at 115 beyond puts for tomorrow. That's actually not a bad price, to be perfectly honest, for it to only be 4 points out. Yeah, so this is one that you may want to consider for a move to the downside for tomorrow or overnight. Is this beyond 115 puts? All right, for this week. So take a look at those. All right, I'm gonna skip over CVS. Let's go ahead and go to Dash. Dash has kind of been okay. Hopefully I just made an adjustment. Hopefully that helped out a bit as far as the blurriness. If not, tap on your screen for YouTube and it should show you like 3 dots. Go ahead and hit the dots and you can adjust the screen rate to make it a bit clearer. So try that and let me know if that works out. All right. Appreciate the updates though, until we can really get this, kind of clear and worked out. Appreciate any of the feedback until I can get it all the way situated. All right. I'm not sure if you guys can see Neo. Hopefully so. Let me go ahead and keep going. 1 second here. All right. Looks like the screen is still a bit blurry. Let me try one more time. Give me 1 sec here. All right, trying this again here. Give me a second. Just trying to get the picture quality a bit better. All right, still looking a little blurry. One more try here. All right, let me know how that is. I just adjusted it one more time. Let's see if that'll improve the video a bit. All right, guys. My video, it looks like we're still not able to really get optimal clarity as far as the video goes. I'll continue to just kind of go through the market for now, and then I'll try to adjust this during the next session, or just address any questions via the chat. So if something doesn't make sense or you don't understand anything, just let me know in the chat, and I'll just kind of cover it again. But sorry about that. I know things are a bit blurry. I'll try to fix the picture on the next live. All right, just to let you guys know. All right, so with Neo, Neo is potentially showing like a 3 candle reversal, right? Where price is basically broken down, printed a doji candle, and then this following candle has broken above the highs of the previous candle. So this is potentially what we call a morning star, where this 3 candle pattern can lead to prices pushing higher. Let's see what happens. We could very well just be retesting this 39.50 level to push back off of it as well. So what I want to do is I want to do nothing, and I want to let price give us some more information first before we hop in here. But basically the line in the sand with NEO continues to be 39.50. So if we can get back above 39.50, now we can, consider that it may have possibly bottomed. But as long as we stay below 39.50, I'm looking for price to fall back down towards 34, if not 32. All right, so that's what I'm thinking as far as NEO goes. All right, NKLA. I called this one in the chat today, primarily because it had shown up on our unusual option scanner. And then after I really broke the chart down quite a bit, I said, this may have bottomed. There's a strong possibility of that. So I said, why not? The contracts were, I believe, like 13 cent when we bought them, 13 or 14 cent, and they're currently at 16 cent now. So just be aware that, that trade is working so far. And we'll see if this has the ability to kind of snap up towards 12 to 13, which is really the upper band. That's kind of what we'd be targeting here. I'd probably say by the time this actually hits target, price will probably be somewhere near 12, all right, as opposed to where it's at right here at 13. But if you give this a few more days, this Bollinger Band will continue to kind of tick down a little bit. And I'd probably guess that by the time we hit it, price will probably be near 12. So, called the NKLA contracts earlier today. All right. NVIDIA has earnings today, so we're steering away from that. But so far, that's not looking good either. Pfizer with a ugly shakeout today. I mean, or not even shakeout, but just an ugly move. Like, this is definitely a rejection candle. So for now, let's go ahead and draw a level at 50.42. And we would not be getting back into Pfizer unless price got above 50.42. So hopefully you were able to run some of those Pfizer profits today, unless you entered into like a true swing trade, meaning like, the Januaries or, maybe even the Octobers. But for now, we are continuing to monitor the 50.42 level. If we can get back above that, then we're interested in Pfizer for calls. As long as we stay below that, then we're probably going to chop sideways for a bit of time. And remember, I said it, been saying it the past couple of days. Pfizer likes to make a strong move, then cool off for a couple of days. Make a strong move, then cool off. Strong move, cool off. Strong move, now it's cooling off. All right, with the possibility that it may come all the way back down to 48, or it may try to revisit the upper Bollinger Band. So just be aware of Pfizer. We love trading this one, but you got to trade it and time it right. All right, let's take a look at Planeteer. We've been inside of this trade for, I want to say we got into this on Friday. All right, so we've been in Planeteer for a couple of days. We entered into the 25 calls. So, obviously those are in the money at this point. What we want to see ideally is for a price to close above 25.42. If we can get that, now I'm looking for price to head up or push up towards 27.38. And then if we can get a break and a close above 27.38, then I'll be looking for price to head up towards 37. All right, so still inside of my Planeteer calls and continuing to hold those for now. All right, PayPal, we have been watching this one for a trade to the upside, but it doesn't look ready yet. So we'll just continue to move on. Roblox with a crazy reversal. Like, honestly, I had taken this off of our watch list for a little bit because, it was looking really ugly. And boy, I'll tell you what, this thing came right down to, 75, 76, found support and bounced crazy. So now let's wait for price to get above 85.51, which is basically the close of this strong candle right here from August the 9th. And if we can get above that, then now I'm looking for price to head up towards 90, if not 93. All right, so Roblox is definitely a name to watch. Earnings is already passed, so we have that behind us now. It's not quite profitable yet, but I would imagine they're probably going to have a profitable quarter next quarter, just with kind of how earnings have been trending. All right, so we'll wait for Roblox. It's not ready yet, but it's definitely setting up. It's giving us a potential for a move. All right, SPY all the way at 440 now. Man, crazy. I don't know where my man Sam Mickens is, but man, I tell you what, I think he had 440s. I don't remember what was the date, but it was hard to hold them if you were able to hold them. But yeah, you know, what a move here on SPY towards the end of the day. This thing just started melting. That's crazy. All right, didn't see. I didn't, this was hard to see earlier in the day. Like, when price was at 444, tell me you thought SPY was going to be at 439 by the end of the day. You couldn't, right? It didn't look like that at all. So anyway, I'll continue to say this. The market continues to be under pressure, and we'll continue to monitor for a bottom maybe tomorrow. Maybe. Okay? Maybe. All right. Tesla, we're not interested as long as price is underneath 695. If we can get back above 695, then we could talk about stepping in. Until then, we kind of got to, leave Tesla alone. All right. But if Tesla can get a break and a close above 695, then boom, we could go ahead and step back into Tesla calls. But for the moment, so far, it's just been like a failed breakout. All right. We had a 10-day rest that failed. Price came down to the lower band, bounced, but we're still trapped inside of the Bollinger Band. So by all accounts, we're really still sideways. All right, so that's that. Let me take a look at the uptrend scanner, and then if anybody is with me, does anybody have any chart requests or anything they want me to take a look at? All right, while I'm waiting on a couple chart requests, let's see what's bottomed for the day. Hold on real quick. Bumble. This will probably stay sideways, I would think, for a little bit. So I'm not trying to hop into that right now. So we'll pass on that. Let's take a look at the uptrend scanner. All right, we got that dash that's still there. Juniper, remember we tried those shares on Juniper a few weeks back, and then they got shaken out. That didn't work. Netflix we talked about earlier today. So this one's interesting, especially now that we are trading above the upper band. Let me go ahead and actually add Netflix to our watch list so it doesn't get away from us. Give me a sec here. And Madi might have been right earlier when she was talking about shorting banks. GS is back to 400, so definitely starting to get hit a bit harder. A lot of things are starting to melt. So let me just kind of talk for a minute. I feel like I've seen this environment before where what we're witnessing really is rotation always. So if the market is going down, it's not that money is leaving the market per se, more as it is just moving around in the markets. All right, it's moving from one sector or one place to another, or moving from one stock into another stock, so to speak. So what I'm kind of thinking that I'm seeing, all right, because you can't ever be too sure in the stock market until it's probably 2020, or behind you for the most part, but what I think I'm seeing is a rotation out of all like the big names, the stuff that's really been getting bought up for, more or less the past month or two, I'd say. And it looks like money is starting to rotate into more or less like the Wall Street bets names. So that means like, your Nikolas, your Neos, your AMC, your, what else? Wish, Clove, Planeteer, all that type of stuff, right? All the type of stuff we normally don't trade, like, where we know it's there, we know it exists, but we just kind of watch it and just, if it sets up, great. If not, that's not what we focus on 9 times out of 10. But this time, though, it looks pretty clear to me like that's where the money is headed. So, we'll continue to observe and see how that plays out. But by all accounts, and with what I kind of saw on AMC as far as the bets that were being made on it today, I'm pretty sure, like, those Wall Street bets names are probably going to heat up pretty soon. So, take that for what you will. Outside of that, it looks like the AMD 103 calls, 103 puts, that's a smacker if you guys actually took those, so congrats. And at this point, you could probably take a look now at the 100s for next. Let's look at those real quick. Hold up. Let's look at the AMD 100s now for this week. Give me a sec. Now that we're already at 103.50. All right, looks like the 100 puts are currently going for 51 cents, and there's a lot of open interest on them too. So hopefully you guys were able to snatch up those 103 puts that I talked about earlier in the day. I'm 100% positive those are up 100%. And now you can start to take a look at, maybe the 101 puts or the 100 puts. I would think 100 should get tagged since there's a key level at 99 and 103. Here, let me add my lines back to this AMD chart. Give me a sec. All right, let me pull this up. I'll zoom in a little bit. All right, boom. Almost straight to target here at 102.95. All right, so that's why I called 103 puts in the first place. So what we want to do is, to be sure, we want to see price underneath 102.95, and then we could start to target 100 and then 99. Okay. We may even drop all the way down to the lower band here at 97.25. So keep these AMD puts in mind, guys. All right. AMD puts. All right. Still relatively cheap and could pay. But I would be looking at taking profits tomorrow, though. It wouldn't be something I'd be trying to get married to. All right. I'll be looking to definitely run profits tomorrow. So, quick in and out. All right. I'm not seeing any chart requests on the screen, rather in the chat. So I think that's probably it for the day. We got 2 minutes left before the market closes. So again, continue to be patient. Pick and choose your calls very cautiously. Try to buy strength wherever possible or very near a key level. And outside of that, recognize that the market is under pressure right now, and it's not a great time to be trying to buy calls unless you really kind of know what you're doing or you're buying it off of a key level. All right. Overnight calls. Jerome, you can take a look at the AMDs, bro. The AMDs. Try those AMDs 101s or 100s, man. All right. As far as if you want to take a look at an overnight call, take a look at those. All right. Because that's working. And outside of that, I think that's it, man. I think that's it. All right. Guys, sorry about the picture quality. I definitely want you to be able to follow along with my screen. And so we'll get that fixed by tomorrow's session. And then outside of that, you guys have a blessed night. And then keep in mind that tomorrow can still go either way. Okay. We could open up bearish and then by the end of the day be green. Okay. So keep in mind that we're still in bank robber mode, meaning see profit, take profit, and continue to be cautious on anything that you do, especially puts, because you guys know in this environment, they like to trap the bears all the time. They like to trap you all the time, like to give you a look, make you think it's bearish, and then before you know it, price is pushing up on you. So, just be careful when it comes to, the calls. So we bought calls in AMC because there was literally 3 million in calls bought at one strike today. So yeah, we'll give that a try. All right. But this other stuff, we're still just trading it level to level. If you tried those Boeing 217.50s, that's potentially a decent overnight trade too. But we only got 7 seconds left, so it's probably too late for that. All right. Everybody, be sure to let me know if you got any questions in the chat. Appreciate you joining, and we'll try it again tomorrow. All right, guys.